If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Henry Corrales on the show. He is back in action next Saturday night at the Forum in Inglewood, California. Bellator 238 takes on Juan Archuleta. This is a hell of a fight, Henry. How are you, man?
What's up, Mike? Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you back. So at least in terms of the news cycle, this fight came together very quickly. A little over a week ago, we got the reports that this fight was happening. When were you approached with this one, and when did you know this fight was happening on January 25th?
So I signed the contract for the fight about 8 weeks ago, so I've known for a minute now. They just kind of took forever to announce it.
Are you surprised it took forever to announce a fight like this? I mean, this is a fight that's got everybody excited. It seems, you know, when you're building a card like this and you're trying to promote it, this would be a fight that they'd probably want to put out in the forefront.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised about the way things happen in the fight game, so it's all good.
So the last time we saw you, you took on Darian Caldwell in the featherweight Grand Prix, and the fight didn't go your way. It wasn't the most exciting fight. I mean, Darian did what he had to do to win and advance, but you know, from talking to you leading into the fight, something tells me you were looking for a little bit more of a scrap here, a little more excitement, I guess. How did you feel about that fight and that performance?
Yeah, it's always a bummer to lose a fight for sure, but you know, hats off to him. He did a good job, and that's that. Kind of leave it at that and just move forward.
Were you able to at least take anything away from that fight?
Yeah, of course. You know, I was a little too patient, dude, and a little like I just in my mind I was really patient, like, oh, I'm gonna catch him slipping soon, you know, and just kind of just wasn't too much urgency on my part besides stalking him down, you know, and should have did some more scrambling, and yeah.
Onwards and upwards. Put it behind you and you don't think about it anymore.
Pretty much.
Well, now you got Juan Archuleta, who just had his 18-fight winning streak snapped in the Grand Prix by Patricio Pitbull. Juan's an exciting fighter. You're an exciting fighter. Does this fight get you as excited as it does everybody else?
Yeah, it really does. You know, I'm just pretty grateful that I'm fighting another high-quality opponent, big name, big card, and I'm pretty pumped about this one.
I'm not sure how in tune you are with the MMA social media scene, but have you felt the excitement here from a lot of the fans since this fight's been announced? I feel like I'm seeing this fight everywhere.
Yeah. I've heard I've seen a couple of comments and stuff, and you know, my teammates are pretty excited about it. My friends are, so it's pretty fun.
Have you been impressed with Juan during his run here? I mean, he's gotten some good wins since signing with Bellator. He's 5-1 with the organization. Have you been impressed with him from what you've seen?
Yeah, I'm pretty easily impressed, dude. All these guys are pretty impressive. You know, they're all tough, all these top guys, and yeah.
I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. He's a huge Bellator guy, and he reached out to me. He goes, "Oh, dude, Corrales versus Archuleta, this fight's crazy." And I was like, "Well, what do you think? You know, what do you think's going to happen?" He goes, "Well, Archuleta's like really good. He's on a good streak, but in terms of resumes, you have fought tougher competition overall, that you bring a little bit more of, like, I guess, big fight experience to this fight next weekend." Do you agree with that sentiment? Do you feel like you've had the tougher road here in terms of competition?
I guess slightly, but I'm not sure if that's going to be a factor, if it ever really is. You know what I mean?
I mean, we discussed the Grand Prix that's going on, and we've seen how in these types of situations and these type of tournaments, like, things can change very quickly. Fortunes can change in a matter of days. Maybe a fighter moves on and gets injured, and someone needs to slide in there for a shot at the belt. And of course, the $1 million isn't anything to sneeze at either. So are you looking at this fight as potentially maybe a top alternate type opportunity? Go out there, you have an impressive performance against a guy like Juan Archuleta. You know, it sets you up to be the first call made to slide in there and if needed. Is that something that's on your mind right now?
No.
Just the fight. If that call comes, great. If not, no big deal.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't know about the tournament for too long. You know what I mean? Before I fought in the tournament, and that didn't work out. So I just went back to the way it was before.
By the way, I wanted to touch on this because the last time we talked about the California State Athletic Commission and the weight thing, and you said, you didn't give an S, you were just going to do what you did anyways, and they weren't going to say anything to you. Did anything come from that at all?
Yeah, they just checked my weight a bunch of times and let me know that they're pretty serious about saving the fighters from the fighters, as in hurting ourselves, cutting weight and stuff. And so I took it a lot more serious after that. And I came in under the allowance pretty easily. You know, I just didn't know beforehand, before the last fight, that wasn't even a thing. It was just like, hey, by the way, you can't weigh this much. And I was like, oh, is this like for sure? And it was like, well, no, it's like a strong recommendation. And I was like, oh, fuck it then. But I guess now it's like it's stronger than a recommendation. They're trying to make some moves with it, so that's cool.
You agree with all that? I mean, I sort of agree. It's all about the fighters' health and safety. It's all about you guys getting in and out of there as healthy as possible. Do you agree with what they're trying to do?
Yeah, no, but because it's tough, dude. It's hard to put such a universal thing on everybody because everybody's bodies are different and they respond different to different things, you know. Because I'm not a very big guy, but sometimes my body just retains more water, and I'll carry that as extra couple pounds, and those extra couple pounds can mean me being in trouble by the state by coming in over the allowed allowance on fight night, even though I made the weight pretty easily. But so yeah and no, you know.
Is it frustrating as a fighter that, and I'm not just saying this with California specifically, but they call it the unified rules of MMA, yet they're not really unified, are they? If you go from one state, the rules could be completely different. If you go to another state, like things are, defined differently than others. Is that frustrating for you as a fighter? Like you feel like you have to do research and homework and have extra discussions depending on what state you're in?
No, because I don't. Yeah.
You just let other people handle that and you just go with it.
Yeah, it doesn't really cross my mind. Unless it's come to me specifically, like they did last time, then I'm like, oh, okay, then I'll weigh whatever you want me to weigh, sure.
All right. So you're taking it like Bill Belichick approaches football, one fight at a time, and learn from that and go to the next one.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm not that smart to do anything else.
In terms of the fight itself, how do you see this all going down next weekend at the Fabulous Forum? How do you see yourself getting your hand raised against a really tough guy in Juan Archuleta?
Yeah, I see a tough fight, and I'm just ready. I'm ready to bring it to this guy. Pretty pumped about this one.
I want to get your take on this. If all pretty much stays the way that it's shaped up in this Grand Prix, who do you like coming out on the other side? Because I know you're not really focused on getting back in there. If it comes, it comes. But, there's a lot of people talking about AJ McKee. People are very excited about him. They feel like he could be the next big star in the sport. Do you agree with that? Or do you see this kind of playing out differently?
Well, AJ McKee's doing everything to prove that right. That guy's fucking smashing people, dude. He's doing a good job, dude. And yeah, I kind of agree with that too, for sure. But Pitbull, he's a tried and true, dude. He's been there, done that. So yeah, but then again, all these other guys are fucking tough too. So yeah.
It's up in the air. It really could go either way. Like it's just it's a true game of inches in this Grand Prix.
Not just only in the Grand Prix, but just in fighting in general, dude. It's at the high level, dude. It's always just up in the air. Who's better that night?
That's a good point. And we look forward to seeing some high level fighting next Saturday. Bellator and the UFC are going to be going head to head next Saturday. Bellator 238, Henry Corrales taking on Juan Archuleta. I love this fight. I'm looking forward to it for sure. Before we let you go, Henry, let the folks know where they can find and follow you on the web, social media, any shout outs, anything else you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours.
Sweet, dude. Well, thanks for having me again. Henry Corrales MMA on Instagram, and you pretty much find out everything about fighting stuff there.
Thank you, Henry. All the best to you next weekend. Really excited for this one.
Hell yeah, dude. Later.